Is Elçin Sangu stepping into a brand new romance with Barış Arduç, or did one tender caption simply send the internet into meltdown? Those behind-the-scenes moments, framed by studio lights and a dance floor glow, hit social media like a lightning bolt, and now everyone wants answers. Welcome to Secrets Behind the Stars, where we dive into the whispers, the glances, and the clues you might have missed. Before we unravel the threads of tonight's story, make sure you're tuned in, because this one has the entire fandom catching its breath. The spark came from a single photo, posted without warning. Elçin Sangu and Barış Arduç shoulder to shoulder in a rehearsal space, bodies still warm from movement, hair slightly undone, that soft post-practice flush painting both of their faces. The caption? A short, intimate line that felt like it belonged in a private message rather than in front of millions. So grateful you're here. Being side by side for the best moments is everything. In seconds, comments flooded the screen. Was this just a shout-out to a trusted partner on a new project, or a quiet confession of something deeper? As the likes climbed and the shares multiplied, the whispers turned into a chorus. Is something beginning? Are we witnessing the first steps of a love story we've imagined for years? If you've followed Elçin for even a minute, you know every time she posts, the internet listens. She's built a presence where style and sincerity collide, glam one moment, unfiltered honesty the next. Fans follow her work with fierce devotion and lean in when she lets a personal moment slip through. This time, the softness of her words sounded like more than a pat on the back. It sounded like comfort. It sounded like a heartbeat. It sounded like the kind of gratitude people feel when they find the person who steadies their day. And when that person is Barış Arduç, someone whose on-screen chemistry with Elçin has lit up sets and launched 1,000 edits. The speculation writes itself. They've crossed paths on camera and behind it, in scripts and rehearsals, in long days that stretch into night. For this project, sources say, the two had been training through a set of dance-driven sequences under the guidance of a coach, pushing timing, balance, breath, and trust. Even if the camera tells one story, the studio tells another. The caption, read through that lens, sounds like a toast to teamwork. Yet in showbiz, the line between work and wonder is a thin thread, and fans love to pull at it. This can't be just professional, one comment insisted. Look at their eyes. Another begged, please let this be real. One more tried to play it cool, relax, it's rehearsal gratitude. But even the calmest replies carried a little thrill, because it's easy to be cool until a single smile and a single frame turns the whole room warm. What is it about the dance floor that blurs everything? Think about it, two people learning to move as one, finding the same rhythm, trusting a hand at the small of a back or a steady palm during a turn. Harmony is built eye to eye, heartbeat to heartbeat. It's not surprising that the audience wants to call that harmony love. Elçin's presence online has always been warm and intentional. She rarely overshares, preferring meaning over noise. That's why this caption landed like a soft confession. It didn't scream. It didn't tease. It breathed. Fans felt invited into a quieter corner of her day, and when Barış is the one standing beside her in that corner, the imagination does what it does best, it fills in the silence with a story. Now picture the scene that must have come before the upload, late night, rehearsal clock winding down, music still humming in their bodies. They've nailed a sequence that took days to sync. There's laughter, a looseness in the shoulders, that little relief you earn only after you push past the awkward steps and find a groove. A friend snaps the photo. Nothing staged, just the right moment at the right time, and Elçin writes from the rush of it. She hits share. And within minutes, the timeline tilts. People who ship them go feral. People who doubt raise eyebrows. People who know the grind of making art nod, because sometimes the person who shows up when you need them most feels like home, and calling them home in public is both brave and beautifully ordinary. But make no mistake, this is show business. If there's an inch of mystery, the rumor mill will stretch it a mile. Some followers immediately drew battle lines. This is purely professional, they're friends who trust each other. Others posted side-by-sides of earlier moments, a look exchanged at a press event, a laugh they shared on set, a hand held a beat longer than necessary while learning a lift. Every tiny detail became a chapter, every frame a clue. The story isn't new: friendship, flirtation, partnership. Yet with these two, the stakes always feel higher. The culture's favorite riddle is alive again: professional synergy or the beginning of something we haven't had the courage to name? Barış needs no introduction. Magnetic on screen, grounded off it, he brings a fierceness to roles and a gentleness to candid moments that makes audiences lean in. Paired with Elçin, he becomes a mirror and a spark. Together they are the kind of duo that makes scripts pop and interviews go viral. Which is why a caption that sounds like a human-sized love letter, arriving right after a sweat-drenched rehearsal, lights the fuse in seconds. Still, the reasonable read is there too. Anyone who's trained for a performance knows how much trust it demands. You don't nail a lift unless you believe someone will catch you. You don't pivot together unless you agree on tempo and breath. You don't arrive at ease in a photo unless the work has folded into comfort. The phrase, side by side for the best moments, can live perfectly inside that professional cocoon. But outside the cocoon is a world that craves romance, and who are we to pretend that longing doesn't color the way we scroll? What keeps fueling the fire is the picture's texture. She's in a slouchy, elegant set that moves like second skin. He's in rehearsal blacks, sweat clinging like proof. Her hair is imperfect in the most perfect way. He wears that post-practice grin that looks earned. The studio's mirrors multiply the image behind them, and in those echoes, fans think they see a second meaning. The shot feels unscripted yet cinematic, and that contradiction is Hollywood's favorite perfume. Within hours, a tag born in the comments started trending. #Elçin Barış dominated feeds, drifting across regions and time zones. Instagram stories dissected the posture, Twitter spun theories in long threads, YouTube reactions stitched together interviews, past collaborations, and the way their fingers nearly touched in a split second of motion. It's astonishing how a single moment can pulse through the culture like music, each platform adding its own beat. If you've been around long enough, you know how this ride goes. First comes the spontaneous post. Then the tidal wave of reactions. Soon, outlets stitch narratives as if they were there in the room. Fans ask for more shots from the studio, for a rehearsal clip, for anything that can confirm what they already feel. Will Elçin and Barış feed the moment with another photo, another caption, a wink that doesn't deny and doesn't quite confirm? Or will they go quiet and let the energy fizz out on its own? Here's the psychological heartbeat of it all: we're drawn to stories where the line blurs. We love to believe that art creates closeness, and closeness creates sparks, and sparks become something you can't ignore. We also love will they won't they tension, because it keeps our imaginations humming. Maybe this is a careful expression of appreciation between two professionals. Maybe it's the very first sentence of a chapter not yet ready for daylight. Both truths can sit there together, and maybe that's why the post refuses to fade. Think about what dance does. It organizes chaos. It asks two people to negotiate the impossible and make it look effortless. Breath lines up. Hands meet. Eyes check in. Mistakes turn into laughter, corrections turn into trust, and trust reads as intimacy even when it's simply two performers doing their job exceptionally well. Outsiders project meaning onto that intimacy because the rhythm feels like romance already. One smile becomes a confession. One short caption becomes a love letter. Add in the history we've all watched, interviews where they defend each other, premieres where they share the spotlight, scenes that vibrate with ease, and the audience only needs an inch to sprint a mile. Remember, the visual story matters as much as the words. The lighting in that studio wasn't glamorous, but the rawness made everything feel more true. The way her arm angled toward him, the way his stance tilted ever so slightly in her direction, the way the frame caught them mid-breath, it all did the heavy lifting for the imagination. The image broke out of the rehearsal room and into a collective daydream. And the daydream, dear viewers, is where fandoms are born and reborn. So what happens next? If the post was a heartfelt nod to a tireless partner, then Elçin just reminded everyone why she's loved. She shares credit, she shares warmth, and she makes professionalism look human. If there's a deeper current, then we may be on the edge of watching a connection move from rehearsal shadows into public light. The entertainment world will keep refreshing, the tabloids will zoom in, and the fans will keep reading tea leaves until the tea spills itself. Through it all, one thing is certain. Barış Arduç and Elçin Sangu remain the duo everyone talks about, the names that can throw an entire evening into speculation with a single sentence and a single smile. And while the rest of us debate, they get to keep dancing, on set, in rehearsal, and perhaps into something tender that belongs only to the two of them. Let's not pretend we're immune to the romance of this moment. We've seen professional partnerships fizzle under pressure. We've also watched them bloom under exactly this kind of heat. A caption that sounds like gratitude can be both gratitude and a doorway. A photo that looks like two colleagues can be both colleagues and companions. That duality is what keeps the story alive, what pulls us back to the post again and again, searching for new clues in pixels that haven't changed. Maybe that's the real trick of the dance. The steps repeat, but the meaning deepens every time. As the city winds down and the studio lights cool, the internet remains wide awake, scrolling, comparing, hoping. Will there be a follow-up shot that shows their hands laced between counts? Will the next interview carry an extra glimmer when they say each other's names? Or will we get a playful denial that still leaves the door open? However it unfolds, the culture won't look away. Not when a moment this small can feel this enormous. Not when two performers we adore give us a glimpse that feels like a promise. So here we are, at the edge of certainty, where speculation is an art form and a caption can tip the scales. Is this friendship burnished by endless hours of practice, or the spark of something meant to outlast the music? Tell us where you land. Secrets behind the stars will be watching, replaying, and waiting with you. Are Elçin Sangu and Barış Arduç simply two professionals in perfect sync, or did that dance floor photo just reveal the start of a love story? Stay with us, share your take, and keep your eyes on their feeds. Because if there's another beat coming, you'll hear it first when the music swells and the next post drops.